Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. We are doing a reaction video today. We are looking at things you have tagged me on TikTok, Instagram, wherever. You can follow me there on those here. Consider subscribing. Let's get straight into it, shall we, today? That's factually incorrect. That wasn't a device to help you contour your face. That was something Max Factor. So you know the makeup artist Max Factor, an incredibly iconic makeup artist. He invented this contraption. It's the beauty micrometer or beauty calibrator. This basically, so you see all the pins. I need to find a picture. So you see all these pins and stuff like that. It basically, you push them in and pull them out depending on the highs and lows of someone's face. It basically showed which areas of the face somebody needed help in enhancing or, dehancing. It wasn't what they used to contour their face. It's like a facial evaluation. Then you take it off and you would look at, the way the needles are sticking out. Not needles, they weren't needles. I'm making it sound like a torch device. You would see, what was in and out depending on the measurements of the face. It didn't really catch on though for good reason. So I always want to remind everyone that this demi-color things you see on TikTok is part of a pyramid scheme, so please don't purchase or join it. However, we've seen last time, even in my previous video, this method of deepening the lighter areas to match the dark areas of under the eye. Here's why we don't do that, right? And we do kind of do like a block lighter area. It is much easier to block out an area, make it lighter in bigger measurements than small little bits, because those small little bits aren't going to last as long and aren't as easy to touch up, aren't as easy to create as those bigger patches. If you went around with face and did tiny little dots everywhere, and that's what makes it all harmonious together, yes, it's a great idea, ideally, not using that much product, but you really aren't considering how the oils are going to break down that in your skin. Even if you have dry skin, dry patches can ruin makeup as well. It is not the most time conscious way to do this, and it's also not the best way to do makeup in general if you want longevity from your makeup. It's a waste of time, basically. This is a weird one, right? Because I think a lot of people would agree with me. A lot of professional makeup artists would agree that, that's too orange for a face anyway. This method of putting dots on people's faces and then doing the whole makeup and then blending it in like this isn't a great way to do this, especially for things like camera. You're not measuring how much product you're using. You're gonna blend all that blush in now, right? And who knows how much you have on that face. It could blend too much this way, it can blend too much that way. Again, it's a waste of your time putting all these dots on the face. Use your product as you need it. It really isn't the best way to do these kind of things. And also, you've already placed your product. That it's not contour because it's too orange. That bronzer, that blush, you can't move it around now. Like, you can't say, oh, you know what? I've taken my bronzer too high. Now I need to move my blush down or blush up. You can't, one, it's not very professional in terms of the way it's going to look when you finish, not considering retouching. And it's just a waste of time. I don't know where this method has been learned. A lot of people take that image from a Kevin Aquan book and take it quite literally, whereas they were just demonstrating where this product should go.
Guys, I've been a makeup artist for 7 years now, and I've never known this hack until I saw a nail artist do this on TikTok. So, if you have frayed brushes, like liner brushes, you can just stick them in hot water, and the hot water will put them back to their original shape. And this is the most life-saving thing I've ever discovered. And then I also tried it with concealer brushes, like for cut creases, because you need that really sharp edge, and it worked too. I don't know why I've never seen this before, or have never heard anyone talk about it, but it works
it's terrible.
so well. Look how clean that is. Like, that is just brand new again. And I've had this brush for like years. So naturally, I just decided to do all my concealer liner and angled brushes.
I wouldn't recommend this at all, not one bit, especially if you love your brushes. Maybe perhaps you can, you know, dispose of them and rebuy them again. But in this part of a brush, this part of a brush called the ferrule, there's glue here literally holding onto your brush hairs. Now, something as simple as a hot day, putting a hairdryer on this, a radiator can melt the glue in that part of this brush. Dipping it into boiling water, and that was boiling, it was bubbling, is gonna melt that glue. It might not do anything right away, and it might make the brush look amazing and back to normal, but over time that glue is gonna melt, and even if a few little hairs just come out a tiny bit, you're now unbalancing the brush hairs. The brush hairs are glued in a certain way to make that shape. So if you're worried about your brushes being out of shape, you're actually just starting to make it worse. All the hairs are going to start to come out, fall out. That is quite literally ruining your brushes. Please don't do that. I actually think that's a really, really good idea. You're creating some natural shadows, but also like a false shadow. For example, if I was to do that on my nose, if I was to contour this area here, it would make it a lot. Okay, it doesn't look that great on my camera. It's good. I think that's a really good idea, to be honest with you. You don't have to put lash glue on your whole lash to do that, right? You can do it on the rib of the false lashes and then pinch together with mascara, unless you wanted it to last like days and days and days, which I don't think is necessary. Please be careful with your brows and your eyelashes, because sometimes once they fall out, that's pretty much it. Don't treat them so harshly, you know, just for the sake of sticking on some like falsies.
This is something I've been doing in my makeup routine, but I've never been able to articulate it fully. But the difference between glassy and greasy is all about spot mattifying. So you want to start off with an ultra glowy base. This is a step where you're going to pile on all the glow you want in your base makeup. For concealer, I don't recommend using anything that says dewy or glowy on it. The way that they make a makeup product more dewy is by adding oils or shimmers. And a concealer that's too high in oils is going to cause creasing, or the coverage is not going to be great. And shimmers, even though it looks glowy, can emphasize texture, pores. So just use a normal concealer. Now, this is the trick. What I like to do is pair my dewiest foundation with my mattest powder. What you want to do is just spot mattify. So I like to use a small tapered brush and just spot mattify all the areas that should not be glowing. So around the nose is a very common area where people are oily, so this is where you want to mattify. I just dust a little bit under the eyes as well because I have some texture there, but still leave most of the cheek untouched. Look at the difference: oily, glassy. To do a little bit under the nose as well, because you know what it looks like when you got shimmer under your nose? It looks like you have snot. And then I dust a very, very light layer on the forehead. This is just a base layer. I haven't added any blush or highlighter, but look at the difference. And that's it. And you can add a highlighter if you want, but this is how I get an all over glow without looking greasy.
100% that is the way to do it. Think about it in a way you're mattifying where you could potentially sweat or become super oily. Middle of the forehead, down the sides of the nose, chin is a good one too. And I would actually add to that as well, just slightly above the brow bone right here to mattify, but leave under the brow bone so you have that nice glow. And this is great advice for oily people as well, because some of us like to still have a glow to our skin. For example, you can see my, like, this looks sweaty, this looks oily, but this looks like glowy. If I was to mattify those areas, my skin would just look like it was glowing. That's really, really good advice. Think about where you sweat, where you become the most oily. Cheek oil is nice sometimes.
This and you wonder why it never looks right? I'm gonna give you some tips. First, you have to pick the right shade of color corrector for you. This is too deep for me. Huda Beauty did a really good job of demonstrating this. If you're fair skinned, you're gonna use like a pinky color corrector. If you're medium, you're gonna use a peach. If you're deep, you're gonna use an orange. So my perfect color corrector looks something more like this. Second, this is way too much product. When you do this, you're creating a bigger problem than what you started with, because now you have to use so much more concealer to cover up that orange, and you're just gonna end up with an orange under eye. Instead, with a color corrector that fits your skin tone, apply just 1 or 2 little dots. I'm gonna blend that out with my finger And see how it just neutralized out all that purple? Now I don't have to add so much concealer, and it's gonna give me that really bright under eye that I was going for. Look at what a huge difference that made.
So correct. If you are using a pure orange for your color corrector under the eyes, it's too much. It's too much depending on your skin tone. Think about, right, matching your orange color corrector to your tone of foundation. So imagine orange color corrector going from a scale of light pink all the way to deep red, and then skin tone next to that. You should be using the same level. Using a tone that's too dark on lighter skin is creating more of a problem than you had initially. So match up that color corrector to your skin tone on a spectrum of light peach all the way to red. Don't just go in with these brands that sell pure orange. Don't do it. And same with your skin tone as well. You don't want to be like my skin tone and using a green color corrector that is like white when you blend it out, you know, because there's no point in using that in the first place.
UK makeup versus US makeup. I seriously couldn't believe we're about to do this, but we are. Like I told y'all, the UK girls eat when it comes to their makeup. So let's see how it really compares to US makeup, aka how I usually do my makeup. UK makeup will be on this side, US makeup on this side. Start out with brows because literally the way y'all do brows in the UK is foreign to me. Fill in brows. Here's the difference for the UK. Y'all put concealer all right here and up here, and it's almost like you're painting your face when you're outlining the brow. Then you drag it all the way down. I literally do not do this at all. Now what I do is just take my concealer and outline my brow with a pan concealer. Then you set with powder. I don't be doing this. Yeah. I don't set anything. Illuminating skin tint on this side, a regular skin tint, blend that on in. And I actually do like this step for the UK makeup. And honestly, I will be going in with either the skin tint like I'm doing right now, or just go straight in with my foundation. And this is the biggest difference in my opinion. Concealer, and then you guys go outward and upwards. Whereas for me, concealer, also drag it all right here. Now let's do the contour areas. Contour, 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 contour. But the difference is I've noticed in the UK, this contour here, whereas I contour all the way down. See, I'll be watching y'all. You cannot be from the UK if you ain't lifting the eye. You gotta lift the eye, okay? Now see, I just blend mine out with my beauty blender. I don't know why I drew that part right there because I don't be lifting like that. This next step is what really sets it apart. Brighter under eye. And that is only on the UK side. While that sits, let's move on to blush. I noticed in the UK, it's more so in between the concealer and the contour. Only right here. Whereas I apply blush all right here. You see the difference. Because when you see a UK girl, she doesn't have to open her mouth. You know she lives in London. Now I'm gonna set the under eye, use, oh shoot, I didn't blend this in yet. And then to really amp it up with the UK makeup, an even brighter setting powder. And yes, she's cracked. Oh, I did it. And it's really a peachy nude that I see a lot of the UK girlies wear. Lipstick. Now in the US, we do the same thing, but you best believe we adding a gloss on top. And finally, we will set the face. UK makeup, shut it down. Or are you going with the US, baby? Period. May I fancy you for a cup of tea? Let me know in the comments which side do y'all like the best. Do you see a difference? What's y'all's thoughts and opinions?
Crystal, I love you. I have a few things to say about that, but accurate. There's something about scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through social media where you can tell that person is from the UK. Now, I'm gonna say this, don't hate me everyone. There was a point in that video where she said, you can tell that the person is from London. Let me just say, this isn't a London thing. I'm not from London, so I'm not like, oh, London. It's very much northern, northern England. Let me tell you, people in the north of England, glamour, beauty, always on point with makeup. I actually worked with a salon that tried to emulate the beauty, the need for beauty and makeup in the south like they have in the north. And that look is very much originated from UK academies where they, you know, teach basically one look, and that's the look that they do. Exactly what she said in that video. Even the lip, down to the point where she did that lipstick with a line and didn't quite, you know, blend it in around the edges, is perfection. That is exactly how it is done. The powder, the texture, everything. That course. That was absolutely correct. What was the one thing I was going to say? Oh yeah, and by the way, in the South, yes, we like makeup, we like glamour, we like beauty, but it's a little bit more subdued. I guess it depends what part you're from. That's not speaking for everyone. That's stereotypical, of course, like that video, stereotypical English, stereotypical American, because I wouldn't dream of doing makeup in that way, apart from the lift on the eyes, of course. That was perfect. That was such a good observation. Thank you so much for joining me. Do consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.